Uncover the shocking truth about your exhaustion, spiritual warfare revealed at 3 a.m. The clock struck 3, and the world outside fell into a hushed quiet. But in the mind of Jenna Carson, a whirlwind raged. She tossed and turned in her bed, drenched in sweat, heart pounding like a war drum. Shadows danced on the wall, twisting and contorting into shapes that gripped her chest with icy fingers. It felt like her soul was in battle fighting against something unseen, something sinister. Was it merely exhaustion, or was it something darker? The strange occurrences had begun weeks ago. Jenna had started waking up abruptly, the air heavy with an unshakable dread. Dark energies seeped into her dreams, leaving her breathless. The creaking of the house at odd hours felt deliberate, as if the very walls were whispering secrets meant to terrify. Objects went missing, only to reappear in bizarre places: a spoon in the bathroom sink, a shoe beneath the bed. Each twist in the tale deepened the mystery, feeding her sleepless nights and a growing curiosity. By day, she was an ordinary girl, sipping coffee with friends, laughing at bad jokes. But as night fell, the edges blurred. She found herself scrolling through forums about spiritual warfare, tales of clawed hands reaching into realms unseen. Her rational mind wrestled with what her instincts screamed: something was wrong. The more she read, the tighter the knot in her stomach became. Was she chosen? A pawn in a larger game that she couldn't even begin to understand. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash the like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Each tick of the clock echoed in her mind, pulling her deeper into a spiral of anxiety. Was it her imagination running wild, or were the whispers growing louder? When she looked in the mirror, did that haunted expression belong to her? Jenna's heart raced as she glanced at the darkened corner of her room. A flicker of movement caught her eye. She squinted. It felt like someone or something watched her. A chill raced down her spine. Her gut instinct told her to run, but her feet felt glued to the ground. Suddenly, a soft voice pierced the silence, echoing through her mind. "They're coming for you." The words sent a jolt of terror through Jenna. She tried to shake them off, but the heaviness settled deeper. Who were they? And what did they want? A surge of adrenaline pushed her senses to the edge. Time was running out. Something awaited her, and she knew she had to uncover the truth before it became too late. What if this battle with the unknown wasn't hers alone? What if others were struggling, too? With every ounce of courage, Jenna made a decision. She would dig deeper. She wouldn't go down without a fight. And as she leaned closer to the shadows, poised to confront the mystery that lay ahead, one thought hammered in her mind: what awaited her in the dark corners of the night? As Jenna stood there, heart racing, her eyes fixed on the darkened corner of her room, a shiver of uncertainty gripped her. The shadows twisted like serpents, and with every breath, she felt the air thickening. It was as if the darkness itself was alive, pulsating with an energy that drew her nearer, compelling her to take that first step toward the unknown. "What do you want from me?" she whispered, half expecting a reply. Silence enveloped her, but then a low hum began to resonate, vibrating through her bones. It danced on the periphery of her hearing, a sinister melody that spoke of chaos and despair. She couldn't shake the feeling that something was lurking, just beyond the veil of her understanding, something that had been waiting for her, a message lost in the void. Jenna's hands trembled as she reached for her phone. She thought of documenting this moment, capturing the eerie stillness, but the screen illuminated nothing but her desperate reflection. Frustration surged within her. She had to act. She needed answers. Without a second thought, she flung open her closet door, yanking out her old journal. It was filled with years of thoughts, dreams, and notes from her past. She flipped through the pages, seeking guidance in the ink. One particular entry caught her eye: a dream of a woman in white, her face veiled, warning of shadows creeping into the light. The memory etched itself into Jenna's mind with painful clarity. Could it be connected?
Was the woman warning her of this very moment?
The tension crackled in the air, wrapping its fingers around her throat until she could hardly breathe. The humming grew louder, enveloping her in its sinister embrace.
Was it just a figment of her imagination, or was it real? She stole a glance back at the corner of her room.
There it was again, the flicker of movement.
But this time, it was bold. It shifted and morphed, gaining form.
Her heart thudded violently against her ribs, a primal urge to flee colliding with an insatiable curiosity. With a deep breath, she took a step forward, ready to confront whatever lay hidden in the abyss.
"Show yourself,"
she demanded, her voice trembling. A moment stretched into eternity. With a sudden rush, the shadows lunged towards her, swirling in a vortex of darkness. Jenna stumbled back, her breath hitching in shock. A face emerged, a contorted figure, eyes glowing like embers in the night.
Jenna's skin prickled with dread, but she couldn't look away.
The visage morphed, revealing features of countless souls, a tapestry of anguish woven into a single entity. "They hunger," it breathed, the words slithering through the air like smoke.
"For your light, for your faith." Jenna's mind raced.
The story she had read, the whispers of others in her desperate search for answers, she had inadvertently summoned these dark forces.
They weren't just here for her.
They were coming for the very essence of her spirit. The enormity of her mistaken quest struck deep, the weight of responsibility crashing in on her. Every possibility flashed through her mind.
What had she unleashed? Were others in danger, too? Panic set in.
She needed to warn them, to find a way to protect herself and others. But first, she had to escape the grip of this shadow. With a surge of desperation, Jenna hurled the journal at the ghastly face, seeking a distraction. It hit true, and the figure shrieked, the shadows recoiling. If only for a moment, that moment was all she needed. She dashed toward her bedroom door, heart hammering in her chest. But as she stumbled into the hallway, dread crawled over her skin like 1,000 prickling needles. The house felt different, darker, as if the shadows had spread beyond her walls. The weight of the revelation fell heavily upon her.
There was no turning back now. How many more would be affected by what she had discovered?
As Jenna ran towards the front door, the whispers chased her, taunting her with the knowledge that the real battle had only just begun. Jenna bolted through the hallway, the chilling sensation of unseen eyes trailing her every step. Each door felt like a portal to the unknown, a reminder that shadows now clung to her home.
Was this just her imagination running wild?
Or had she truly opened a door to something sinister? The front door loomed ahead, the light from the outside offering a glimmer of hope. But as she reached for the handle, it jolted her back. An icy grip clamped around her wrist, holding her in place. She turned slowly, dread pooling in her stomach. The figure was back, more defined this time, swirls of shadow caressing its grotesque form.
"Where do you think you're going?" it hissed, voice dripping with malice. "Get away from me!"
Jenna screamed, struggling against its hold.
How could something so horrifying feel so real?
The air crackled with tension, and she fought against the spellbinding energy that threatened to chain her to the ground. In the chaos of panic, memories flooded her mind, her grandmother's warnings about spirits feeding off despair, and how they lingered in the shadows.
Had she dismissed those tales as mere folklore?
Now, faced with undeniable proof, she realized how blind she'd been to the signs, how her curiosity had led her straight into a web of darkness. "This isn't just about you," the shadowy figure said, inching closer. "Your pain, it calls to others.
It invites us in."
Jenna felt a wave of nausea wash over her. It was true, she had harbored grief and regret, a storm of emotions that had festered for years.
But this? Was this what she had invited into her life?
Her heart raced as she thought of her friends and family. Were they unwitting players in her tragic drama now? Gritting her teeth, she summoned every ounce of her strength and retorted, "I won't let you take anyone else.
I don't fear you."
The shadows twisted in surprise, momentarily faltering. It was enough for her to break free. Jenna dashed for the door, flinging it wide open. The cool night air greeted her like a balm, but there was no respite from the desperation clawing at her heart. She couldn't just run, she needed a plan.
"Stop."
It was a deep voice, almost soothing, but thick with authority.
It sent a shiver down her spine. A figure emerged from the darkness, a man clad in a long coat, energy radiating from him like a beacon. "You can't escape them, not yet," he said, eyes locked on hers. "There's something you must understand." Fear mingled with curiosity as she took an involuntary step back. Who was this stranger? Why did he seem so composed in the face of the horrors she was witnessing? "They're drawn to you, Jenna. You hold a power, and they want it," he continued, his expression unyielding. The figure behind him stirred restlessly, as if anticipating a feast. "What do you mean?" she demanded, defiance lacing her voice, though uncertainty gnawed her. "We must go."
"There's no time to explain," the man insisted, glancing over his shoulder at the gathering darkness.
"They'll hunt you whether you run or stay. We need to confront them together." Jenna hesitated. Could she trust him? Every instinct told her to run, yet a flicker of hope ignited within her like a flame. Maybe he could help her find a way to reclaim her spirit, to fight back against the shadows that threatened to engulf her and anyone she loved. Then she looked back into the roiling mass of shadows drawing closer, and her heart sank. She had a choice to make, one that could determine the fate of more than just herself. As Jenna hesitated, the figure whispered urgently, "The longer you wait, the more they'll consume." Suddenly, the shadows surged forward, breaking through the threshold of her home. This wasn't just about her anymore, it was about fighting back. Fighting for the light in her life. With a deep breath, determination bolstering her resolve, she took a step towards him. "All right. Let us do this." But as they prepared to face the darkness, Jenna couldn't shake the feeling of dread. Could she truly stand against what she had awakened, or had she sealed her own fate, entrapping herself in a battle that she might not win? Uncertainty loomed as they plunged into the night, ready to confront the darkness together. Would this battle bring redemption? Or would it unleash deeper horrors than she ever imagined? The dark figure loomed behind her, a swirling mass of despair inching stealthily into her home, while Jenna felt the weight of the decision press down on her chest. She could still bolt back inside, slam the door shut, and pretend this nightmare would dissolve. But deep down, she knew better. "Come on," the stranger urged, his voice harsh yet kind. He darted his eyes back towards the encroaching shadows, a flicker of fear crossing his otherwise calm demeanor. "We need to move." Jenna's heart raced, beating a frantic rhythm in her ears that drowned out the rising hiss of the darkness. The ground felt unsteady beneath her, as though it were shifting and undulating like a treacherous sea beneath her feet. Breathable fresh, the outside air held little comfort amidst the dread curling her stomach into knots. "Who are you?" she demanded, trying to muster strength into her voice. "What do you want from me?" "I'm your guide," he said, his gaze piercing hers, a semblance of reassurance in those stormy eyes. "My name is Orion. I've faced them before, you're not the first. But you're the most important." "Most important?" The words felt heavy, laden with despair. Jenna shook her head. "Important how? What makes me special?" Orion's look turned serious. "They're drawn to the pain you carry, and you have the power to fight them off. But time is short. They can sense our fear, and right now, you're trembling." She clenched her hand into a fist, willing herself to stand tall. Yet the shadows writhed behind him, forming clawed hands, reaching, hungry. Jenna knew fear, she had lived with it. So why did it feel like the very essence of her being was at stake? "Let us go," Orion snapped, breaking her spiral. It snapped her focus back into the moment. The shadows crept closer, whispering sweet nothings in the air, allure, a sickening promise of peace if they submitted. Jenna's stomach twisted harder. They ran, feet pounding against the uneven ground. Orion glided like a breeze, while Jenna stumbled, her heart hammering so hard in her chest she feared it would burst. "Where are we going?" she gasped out between breaths. "To a place that holds secrets about your power and the darkness you face," he shot back, glancing at her. "But you must confront the pain first, Jenna. It's the key. Pain." The word rang in her ears like a funeral bell, heavy and morose. The last time she confronted it, she lost everything. Her heart. Her friends. That familiar ache, a dull throb nestled in her chest, rose up again. Could facing it really be the answer? Just up ahead. Orion shouted, slicing through her thoughts like a blade. The church ruins. Jenna turned toward the old structure, twisted and dilapidated, a relic from another era. The moonlight spilled over it, illuminating faint runes etched into the crumbling stone. What do we do when we get there? She asked urgently, fear creeping back in as dark figures circled behind them.
Make a stand, he replied, determination etched in his features.
It's time to take back what they've stolen.
The shadows were relentless, gaining speed, their eerie whispers becoming violent hisses, each syllable dripping with malice. Jenna's breath came faster, fear clawing at her throat. Could she really face them, embrace the grief that weighed so heavily, and use it like a weapon? As they reached the threshold of the ruins, the shadows lunged. Jenna squinted through the darkness, panic swirling around her like a tempest.
I can't do this,
she shouted, feeling tiny before an overwhelming storm.
Yes, you can. Orion's voice boomed, resonating with an unearthly confidence. Face it. You are stronger than you realize.
In that moment, the shadows slowed.
Did they sense her wavering will? Did they recognize her fear?
Jenna felt a sudden swell of courage, a flicker of light in the suffocating darkness. But even as hope flickered, something sinister roared within the night, a sudden, monstrous cry that sent a chill straight through her bones. The darkness wasn't just hungry, it was wild, and it wasn't going to let her off easily. Heart pounding, Jenna took a deep breath.
I won't let you take me,
she cried, but doubt hung heavy in the air.
What if their next move shattered her completely?
With the shadows closing in, Jenna had to decide. The path before her shimmered with uncertainty, yet it felt like the only way to unravel the terrifying mystery of her existence.
Would she find her power, or was she destined to become just another shadow on the wall?
The echoes of her haunting past lurked closer than ever, waiting for the moment when hope would falter. The confrontation loomed, and the battle for her soul was just beginning. Jenna's heart pulsed in her chest, each thought echoing like the drum of war, and the shadows seemed to dance to that rhythm. Unsure whether to run or stand her ground, a whirlpool of fear threatened to suck her under. Orion's presence steadied her, though flickers of doubt still pricked at her resolve.
Focus, Jenna,
he shouted above the rising wails of the shadowy figures.
We're almost at the threshold. Whatever you do, don't lose sight of yourself.
With every step toward the church ruins, Jenna could feel the darkness pressing in, a claustrophobic grip tightening around her. They were no longer just flickers of shadow, they were whispers of her past, the ghosts of every heartache she had ever endured. Faces she recognized, memories she tried to suppress, all poured forth into the night.
Jenna, a voice echoed through the turmoil.
High-pitched and taunting, it filled her ears, weaving itself into the very fabric of her fear.
Shut up,
she yelled, shaking her head violently. Orion glanced her way, his eyes wide.
Block it out, Jenna.
You're battling more than physical shadows.
You're fighting the echoes of your hurt.
The raw truth of his words ignited something deep within her.
Energy surged as old anger and grief came bubbling to the surface.
The swirling abyss didn't just threaten to consume her, it also reminded her of everything she had lost, and of every bitter moment she had pushed down. Jenna stumbled to the entrance of the ancient structure, feeling its cold stones beneath her fingertips, grounding her.
You're just constructs of my mind,
she shouted defiantly, her voice clearer. I won't let you own me any longer. The shadows hesitated, as if her declaration carved a wound deep into their form. For a moment, she could almost see their faces waver, sorrowful, angry, lost. Jenna, the voice crooned again, softer this time, a beguiling melody flowing through the air.
You want to forget. Let us take the pain away, just give and know.
She spat, the ferocity of her denial burning hot.
I refuse to be a prisoner of my fear.
As she stepped across the threshold into the church's crumbling interior, she felt a shift, a delicate electric hum coursing through her veins. The carved runes pulsed with life, illuminating the darkness with fractals of pale, golden light.
Stay with me,
Orion urged, stepping through the threshold behind her. This is where the truth lies.
Embrace it. Jenna squared her shoulders, a newfound strength emanating from her core.
The shadows fought harder, screeching like banshees, reverberating off the stone walls, threatening to drown her spirit with despair. But the light began to swirl around her, wrapping around her like a cloak of confidence.
"Face it,"
Orion shouted again, his voice cutting through the chaos.
"You can do this.
Your pain does not define you, it empowers you." For a heartbeat, she stood still, the shadows recoiling momentarily, doubt creeping in like a thief in the night. The air shimmered around her, thick with palpable energy. The truth flowed through the runes like lifeblood, illuminating the darkness that had so long hunted her.
"Remember,"
she breathed, her voice catching as she felt the weight of lost moments, friendships, laughter, love, all the things she had neglected to grieve. She took a breath, forcing herself to remember the joy before the hurt.
"I am not just what I've lost."
The shadows hissed, their form roiling in frustration. Jenna felt the pain piercing through her defenses. The memories were sharp edges, cutting into her consciousness, each one a pinprick of light waiting to explode. With each revelation came clarity, combining the light and darkness into a delicate balance.
"I've faced you for too long," Jenna shouted, feeling the bond of fear unravel before her.
She reached deep inside herself, scratching at the surface of old wounds, willing them open.
"Let us do this,"
she growled, flipping her pain into power.
The moment was electric, and suddenly the walls seemed to pulse with promise.
Jenna flooded the church with her energy, a brilliant storm of color igniting the shadows that still
clung to her. No more hiding.
Then, from the center of it all came a tremor, icy fingers gripping her throat as an alien presence broke free from the depths of the dark. A creature, both tangible and ethereal, rose, its form swirling with the confusion of 1,000 anguished faces. Jenna froze, her breath caught in her throat. This was the heart of the shadows. She realized, too late, that it wasn't just the darkness she faced, but something far more sinister. The truth pulsed beneath her skin, and with newfound terror, she confronted the shadow looming larger than life.
"Jenna, be ready,"
Orion yelled as the terrifying beast let out a guttural growl that vibrated through her bones, stealing the light around them. What was this creature?
And how could she possibly confront it without losing herself in the process?
The real battle was only beginning.
Would Jenna harness her power to face this horrifying truth, or would she crumble under its fearsome weight? The ominous shadows shifted, hungry for her despair.
The world spun with potential destruction, and she had never felt so alive or so terrified.
And as she braced for the impending chaos, she couldn't help but wonder, was she strong enough to embrace the truth?
The shadows coiled tighter, the grotesque creature before her punctuating the darkness with a menacing presence.
Jenna could barely comprehend its form, a swirling mass of agony reflecting every despair she tried to escape.
Its eyes glowed, not with malice, but with an ancient sorrow mirroring her own.
"Breathe, Jenna. You can do this." Orion's voice cut through the whirlwind.
He stood firm, unwavering, a beacon amidst the storm of chaos. But the creature lunged, a horrific blend of past and present, terrifying yet familiar. Its tendrils swept toward her, whispering the failures she had known, the moments lost to bitterness. "You're nothing without your pain," it hissed. The shadows responded, roaring with approval, a cacophony of twisted memories eliciting laughter that chilled her bones.
"No!"
she cried, reinforcing her stance. The golden light swirling around her pulsed more vibrantly, igniting the depths of her resolve.
"You do not define me.
I am more than my scars." The creature writhed, its form distorting in response to her courage, each pulse matching the beat of her defiance.
Jenna summoned every emotion she had locked away. Anger, love, loss all poured forth, flooding the very air, thickening the atmosphere. "I embrace my pain. I will transform it."
As she spoke, the edges of reality began to warp. Memories flashed like lightning, joyful moments shared with loved ones, laughter punctuating the air, even the bittersweet lessons learned through trauma. Each recollection a piece of armor, she felt herself fueling the light.
"Remember your strength, Jenna,"
Orion urged again, his voice steadying.
"You are not alone in this."
With a roar, Jenna conjured a vortex of light, flames of brilliance mending together her scattered emotions. The shadows recoiled, the creature caught in her glow seemed to tremble, its eyes flickering with uncertainty. "Face the truth!" she yelled, her voice echoing with conviction, sending waves of sound crashing against the darkness. The walls surrounding her pulsed, the ancient runes gleaming brighter, as though they fed off her revitalized spirit. The creature hesitated, the chaos stalling for just a heart-stopping moment. The storm intensified inside her, a symphony of turmoil turning into power. "I want T back down," Jenna declared as strength surged through her limbs. "This is my transformation." With a mighty thrust, she released the energy, sending it hurtling toward the creature, the sheer force of her conviction making the air quiver. The shadows screamed as they clashed against her light, flickering like candle flames struggling against the wind. But then, something shifted. Just as she felt the victory surge within her, the creature let loose a wail that pierced through her heart, a sound resonating with her deepest fears. "But what if?" it taunted, chilling her to the bone. "What if you can't escape the truth?" In that moment, her breath hitched. Memories flooded back, moments of uncertainty, of crippling self-doubt. Each pang echoed within her, muddying the clarity she had fought to forge. The shadows took advantage, creeping back closer, their whispers curling around her as these thoughts took root in her mind. "You will never be free," they beckoned, drawing nearer. "No!" Jenna cried, shaking her head to banish the echoes. "I am breaking this cycle." But the creature lunged again, its form shifting in ways that defied logical comprehension. It condensed into something sharp-edged, dark, and malevolent, as its voice became a cacophony of her own insecurities. "Will you ever be enough?" Each word struck her fiercely, like knives slicing through her newfound confidence. She felt the weight of her uncertainty trying to drag her down, threatening to sever her bond with the light. "Jenna, fight!" Orion beseeched, panic rising in his voice. "Don't let its falsehoods sink you." With a gasp, Jenna focused on Orion, drawing strength from his unwavering belief in her. Thunder rumbled in the distance, a formidable sound that signified nothing was ever truly lost, only transformed. "I choose to be enough," she shouted. Despair turning into ferocity. As their eyes locked in mutual understanding, she gathered her will, ready to unleash this final surge against the darkness. The shadows recoiled. The creature writhed, almost human-like in its torment, and Jenna sensed the battle teetering upon a precarious edge. But as she prepared for the climax, the ground shook, and the ancient stones of the church trembled, revealing a hidden passage beneath her feet. A swirling temptation beckoned her. The truth was down there, yet she could not ignore the pressing need to confront the creature lunging for her. In an instant, she had a choice to make. Would she dive into the abyss and face the ultimate truth? Or would she confront this creature one last time, risking everything for clarity? She took a step back, the shadows closing in around her, and whispered, "What if it holds the key to my freedom?" The question lingered in the air, heavy with anticipation as the ground shifted beneath her, the fate of her fight against the darkness looming ever closer. Would Jenna break free from her past, or would it haunt her forever? Jenna stared down at the swirling darkness beneath her, the pulsing shadows beckoning, urging her to take the plunge. Her heart raced like a drum, each beat echoing her fear and determination. What lay below could be the answer to everything, or perhaps another trap shrouded in false promises. The creature lunged again, its form grotesque and shifting, now resembling a twisted facsimile of herself. "You can't run from me," it sneered, every syllable laced with venom. "I am your greatest fear." "No," she shot back, her voice steadying in defiance. "You are not me." The light surrounding Jenna flickered, desperate to hold its ground against the darkness creeping in. "What will you choose, Jenna? The truth? Or the illusion that keeps you safe?" The creature's eyes shimmered with a sinister allure, its voice wrapping around her like a shroud. "You've built a life around lies. What if you discover you can't handle the truth?" Around her, shadows howled in agreement, their malicious laughter sending chills racing down her spine. But Orion stepped forward, his figure resolute, cutting through the dark like a knife through fog. "Jenna, listen to me. The truth is scary, but it's also liberating. Choose it." Jenna felt the weight of his words sink in, mixing with her swirling emotions. "I have suffered long enough in the darkness. I will not let fear dictate my path any longer."
But doubt gnawed at her. What if embracing the truth led to despair? The ground quaked again, the hidden passage beckoning as if it sensed her turmoil. Below was a churning vortex, shadows writhing and whispering promises of darkness deep enough to drown her fears. Go on, step down. Forget the pain of the past. Lose yourself in nothingness. You could have peace. No! She shouted, shaking her head fiercely, clearing the hesitations lingering on the edges of her mind. That's what got me here in the first place. Surrendering to the shadows? With a grunt, Jenna thrust her hands outward, channeling the energy crackling in the air. The golden light surged around her, refusing to be extinguished by the surrounding gloom. The creature staggered back, eyes wide in shock. You will not take me! Jenna cried, pouring every ounce of willpower into the pulsating light. I am more than what I carry. I am worthy of hope. A blast of energy erupted from her hands, breaking the shadows and illuminating the hidden path beneath her. The echoes of laughter faded, replaced by desperate cries of the creature. You think you can cast me aside? Yes! She yelled, feeling the power of her resolve bubble up like a volcano ready to erupt. I am reclaiming my truth. The air became electric, her determination blending with the light, fierce and radiant. She took a step toward the gaping maw of reality below, yearning for the truth, what it could unveil instead of what it could destroy, but the creature lunged again, its maw widening in a gesture of ravenous fury. Jenna! No! Orion's voice rang out, but she was already halfway down. As she descended into the depths, her surroundings exploded into chaos. The shadows collided with the light in an otherworldly burst, illuminating her path just as she lost contact with the surface. Darkness embraced her, threatening to swallow her whole, but she felt strength rising in her chest. Was she ready to face the ultimate revelation? Would uncovering the truth empower her, or shatter her completely? Suddenly, the noise faded. Silence enveloped her, a shroud thick with anticipation. Jenna braced herself for what awaited, her heart pounding as the shadows pressed closer. Show me the truth, she whispered into the void. And from the darkness, a piercing scream echoed back, a sound so familiar it turned her blood cold. Could the truth be more devastating than the darkness? The void swallowed her whole, wrapping around her like a suffocating blanket. As silence settled in, Jenna felt her heartbeat slow, caught in the eerie limbo between existence and oblivion. Had she truly chosen to embrace the truth? A part of her wished she hadn't. Then, the silence shattered. The scream echoed again, sharper this time, clawing its way through the oppressive dark. It was a sound of anguish, raw and desperate. Jenna's stomach twisted. With it came a vision, flickering like a broken film reel, memories flashing before her eyes. Flashes of her past, moments she'd buried deep, bubbling to the surface like oil in water. Lena. It was her sister's voice, laced with fear. A memory of the day Lena had vanished, leaving Jenna in a whirlpool of guilt and unanswered questions. The shadows around her shifted, reshaping into the blurry outlines of her family, her mother's tear-streaked face, her father hollow-eyed and lost. Why didn't you save me? It wasn't just a rhetorical question, it cut through Jenna like a knife. I tried. She shouted back, feeling the desperation rise, but the words fell flat in the thick air. The dark entity slithered closer, teasing out her deepest regrets. You haven't faced your failures, Jenna. You've hidden from them. Haven't you seen? Every lie you tell yourself ends with pain. As Jenna stood suspended in a desperate void of memories, she felt the icy grip of despair tighten around her soul. The real truth wasn't the swirling shadows or the grotesque parody of herself that lurked just beyond. It was facing the consequences of her choices. Stop it! She yelled. You're nothing but a figment of my worst fears. You can't hurt me. But inside, she felt the torment of self-doubt brewing like a storm. A deep chuckle reverberated through the darkness. Yet here you are. Choosing to face nothing here. The images morphed, twisting into a distorted reflection where Jenna saw herself standing on a precipice, consumed by darkness but still fighting the urge to fall. Will you fight or will you flee? The creature hissed, its voice smooth as silk yet venomous. Without thinking, Jenna clenched her fists. A surge of energy sparked. I choose to fight. She was filled with memories of triumph, whispers of encouragement from her sister. The shadows howled in frustration. Jenna could feel the tide turning as her resolve ignited the light around her. I will uncover the truth, not just for myself but for Lena, for all the wrongs I've let fester. I will not let you win. With that proclamation, golden light burst from her core, pushing the shadows back. Pain echoed within her as memories flooded back every mistake, every moment of doubt, but they fueled her rather than break her. It felt cathartic, healing even. As the gloom receded, Jenna could see shapes forming. They weren't threats, they were reminders her past, shining like stars in the night sky. Each one illuminating a part of her she thought she had lost, but just as hope reached her, the darkness twisted again. You think you're safe? You're not done yet, it hissed, and in a flash, darkness enveloped her anew, blotting out the light. Jenna's heart raced once more as terror gripped her. She had fought hard, but was she still trapped? Had she just awakened more darkness within herself? Face it, Jenna. You can't escape me. Amidst the encroaching shadows, a new thought struck her. Was there even more she needed to confront? What truths lay hidden she hadn't uncovered yet? The suffocating dark pressed in, heavy against her skin. Jenna's heart pounded, a relentless drumbeat echoing in the void. She had fought hard for light, but now it felt like grasping at smoke, the sweet breath of freedom just slipping through her fingers. The chilling whisper of the dark thing wrapped around her, chilling her to the bone. What lies beneath, Jenna? It taunted, its presence swirling ominously. You're not even close to the truth. The weight of your choices crushes you. Let us dig deeper. With every word, the specter conjured another memory. This time, it was her father's disappointed gaze, as if it had been frozen on her mind's screen. The day she had refused to help him, choosing instead the company of friends who later betrayed her. You walked away when he needed you, the dark entity hissed. You turned your back on love. What does that make you? No! She shouted into the empty expanse. I did what I thought was best. The reply was a hollow laugh that made her skin crawl. Think again, Jenna. Your best isn't good enough. Hot tears prickled her eyes, but she fought them back. She had a choice here, just like all those moments she let fear dictate her life. You won. Break me, she seethed. Breathing deeply, she felt the residual flickers of her earlier light, the golden energy stuttering but still there, ready. As the darkness roared with laughter, she gathered her strength. I choose to see the truth, all of it. In an instant, the shadows around her twisted and pulled back, revealing another scene from her life. She stood first in her family's kitchen, laughter and love hanging thick in the air, then spiraled into a bitter argument with Lena the night everything had shifted. You think everything's a game, Lena had spat, raising her voice, frustration spilling over. Why can't you just be real with yourself? Why can't you be less dramatic? Jenna had countered. It was a moment she had sworn to forget, but the dark entity clearly had no intention of letting it slide. Look what you lost, it sneered. Every chance at connection, every bond you let slip away. Jenna started to swirl with anger. Each regret stung as the edges of the memory sharpened. I was scared of losing her. She shouted. I thought cutting her out would save me pain. Did it? The voice was chillingly calm, slicing through her resolve. You're still drowning in it. This wasn't just psychological warfare, it was a revelation. The truth clawed at her. Pain wasn't a foe to run from. Danger felt edible with the right perspective. She needed to absorb it, to own it. She had cut Lena from her heart as a misguided shield, but that shield had turned into a cage. I can't keep hiding. I won. Jenna yelled into the void. This was her storm, her moment to own. Suddenly, the figure recoiled as if struck. The shadows retreated, quivering as light bubbled up from her center, pushing back the dark. I see you. She cried, strength surging through her limbs. But just when she felt the tide truly turning, new shadows emerged, creeping back with an eerie whisper. Did you think that was it? The past is just a taste. What about the present?
A hazy warmth wrapped around her. Images came rushing forth, the spiral of today, the confusion, the buried anxieties that bled into her waking life. Whispers of doubt filled her ears, as heavy as the black cloak of despair. And with them, a chilling realization: what are you truly afraid to find now? In that moment, Jenna grasped the gravity of her journey. She was closer to the truth than ever, but the encounter with these next shadows promised to be the most daunting yet. What truths about her present were lurking just beyond her reach? Jenna stood poised at the threshold of her fears, heart racing as the swirling shadows beckoned. Each tendril whispered intimately, appealing to the chaos she had tried so desperately to avoid. Look at your life. You think you're free? A ghostly voice taunted, slicing through her resolve. You're just as lost as you were before. But another voice thumped in her heart, reminding her what she fought for. She thought of Orion's unwavering confidence, sparking something within her, a rush of warmth against the chill creeping up her spine. I am not trapped. I choose my path. She shouted, amplifying her voice to drown out the sinister whispers. With ferocity, she summoned the flickering light still alive inside her. The very air thickened as she focused on the dark entity, channeling her emotions. You don't control me. You're nothing but reflections of doubt. The shadows recoiled momentarily but surged back, emboldened by her growing courage. But what about your friendships? Look around, Jenna. They twisted around her, conjuring reflections of the past few months. She saw herself smiling with friends, laughing, but then the laughter cracked and twisted into harsh confrontations, misunderstandings that had flared from her insecurities. Suddenly, her best friend's voice echoed. You're always too busy for those who care. What's wrong with you? Jenna clenched her fists, feeling shame wash over her as memories surged, a tapestry of missed calls, ignored texts, an emotional wall she built without thinking. No. That's not true. I was lost. She yelled defiantly, feeling the rush of past decisions reeling inside her. This was her truth, painful yet liberating. The visions stomped through her mind, every painful moment, each tear shed not to drown her but to make her resilient. I chose to protect myself because I was scared. But that ends now. The shadows writhed in agony, struggling against her surging light. You think it's that easy? You'll push them all away again. You'll hurt everyone around you. Jenna felt tears stream down her cheeks, but they weren't tears of defeat, they were tears of release. No more. I will face my fears. I will not run from the messiness of real relationships. Her voice rang with conviction, causing the shadows nearby to sizzle and dissipate. I'm not the girl who hides anymore. Drawing on everything she had learned, Jenna tightened her focus. The past and present collided in an explosive wave of energy, fueling her spirit. You will not crush me. I'll reclaim my friendships and build new ones. Relationships are worth the risk of pain. I won't let you dictate my life. With each confession of love and desire for connection, the shadows withdrew further, their stinging whispers transforming into desperate wails. Their power waned as Jenna opened herself to reconciliation. The world around her cracked with brilliance, illuminating the remnants of the darkness that dared to haunt her. And just like that, she stepped fully into the light, eyes trained on the swirling mess of shadows still trying to grasp hold. You are fading, she declared. I choose truth. I choose connection. As the shadows melted away, Jenna felt the dissipating weight lift from her chest. The monster that had once loomed large turned into a flicker of dark smoke, a final sigh echoing her past, whisked away by the force of her newfound resolve. Jenna turned back to Orion, who stood watching with no hint of fear, only pride. You did it! He exclaimed, shoulder heightening with an outpouring of energy. Breathless yet beaming, Jenna felt unbounded joy. I faced myself. I'm not alone. The shadows were banished, leaving echoes of strength that resonated within her. In that moment, she embraced the very essence of who she was capable of becoming. The night had shifted, the burdens of her past replaced by the shimmering promise of tomorrow. Spirits danced in the air around her, an uproar of life rather than despair. She thought of every cherished moment ahead, reconciliations with friends, rekindled connections, evenings of laughter with no secrets left hidden. And she knew they would be forged in the strength of honesty and vulnerability. Let us go, she said confidently, taking a step back towards the path, ready to reclaim her life. The journey ahead would not be void of hurdles, but now she carried the strength of the truth within her. In that moment, Jenna understood she would rise to meet every challenge with open arms, and the light within her was far too powerful to extinguish. Jenna took a deep breath of the cool night air, her heart swelling with possibility. No longer was she merely surviving, she was thriving. This is only the beginning. As the dawn broke on the horizon, Jenna glanced back at the ruins, knowing they would stand not as a symbol of her fear, but as a monument to her courage. She left behind the shadows, stepping boldly into the light of a new dawn. This was her story, her battle fought, and her victories won. And as Jenna walked forward, knowing she was unbreakable, she found solace in the knowledge that the shadows might always linger, yet they would never claim her again. Subscribe immediately to our channel to keep following Jenna's journey and other exclusive stories that will leave you breathless. Smash the like button now. Your support feeds the algorithm that keeps us thriving. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about Jenna's journey. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to find their strength and face their truths too.